it causes high pressure zones. And these flow outward towards an area of low pressure. This pattern of movement produces the 3 global wind belts in each hemisphere. Because of the Coriolis effect, they turn to the right in the northern hemisphere, which is where we live. Okay? So the first one is the easterlies. And in this case, we're calling them the polar easterlies because they are coming from the poles, and they're coming from the east and moving towards the west because winds are named for where they come from. So the polar easterlies, we are going to mark with blue on our sheet, and I will show you that. Okay. This is your sheet. You're going to take your blue and color your polar easterly arrows in the North Pole and in the South Pole, blue. And name it and label it in your key, the polar easterlies. Okay. So those winds are going to cause high pressure systems. They're flowing from the poles and from the east because they are called polar easterlies. Now, this is the one that is important to know because of the region that we live in. These are our westerlies, and we call them the prevailing westerlies. And they blow from the west to the east, from the horse latitudes across toward the poles. They bring storms across much of the United States. And the reason they do that is because we have the cold air from the poles sandwiched in between the warm air from the equator, and we have the largest variance in temperature. And when 2 different air masses meet, you're going to have some severe weather. So go ahead and label your westerlies with red. This little green dot right here, that would be us in North Carolina. And label your prevailing westerlies in red. You want to mark it on your map where we would be, so like right here under that red arrow right there. Don't forget the westerlies in the southern hemisphere. Label them in your key there. Now, the way that I remember where, first of all, we get our winds from in North Carolina and the United States is by saying a little rhyme. We say, we get our weather from west to east from the prevailing westerlies. Hope that helps. Finally, we have our trade winds, okay? Our trade winds blow from the east, moving from the horse latitudes towards the equator. These strong, steady winds start to die out the closer that they come to the equator, because the closer they come to the equator, the more level and even the temperature is all the time. Label your northeast trade winds with orange and the southeast trade winds with yellow. Northeast with orange and southeast with yellow. want you to go ahead and write we get our weather from west to east, from the prevailing westerlies. Okay, and if you look, it's also easy to remember because it's the word we, like we here in the United States, here in North Carolina, get our weather from west to east, and it spells the word we, W-E, from the prevailing westerlies. And that's all for today, and look for tomorrow's video where we are going to talk about the jet stream.